SBA EIDL Loan News Update 2022, SBA EIDL Loan increases, reconsiderations, applications, which I will be jumping into a second, and also an alternative up to $5 million still with the SBA program. My name is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions, and let me jump right into things. So the SBA recently released that there are no outstanding applications being considered, which, puts a huge blow to businesses and business owners because that loosens up and really decreases the chances for them to get funding. So there are no more outstanding considerations for EIDL loan applications and applicants. So it will be even harder to even get EIDL loan funding if it's even your first time around, second time around. And so I want to jump right into how that's affecting you and other business owners and what's that alternative up to $5 million, as well as 0% interest for 6 to 18 months up to $150,000 I will be discussing. So what that's doing now in December, we may be seeing another interest spike. It could be between 0.5 to 0.75% basis points off of what we just currently saw go up to 0.75. So we could be at 8% come the start or the end of December going into January. And I recently released content on prime rates. So I'll link you to that down below in the description. And how does that affect you and your borrowing power, not only with an SBA loan, but other forms of financing. So this recession, us going deeper into this, and now the interest rates coming back up, well, where does that leave us? We still have other options. So now let me jump into what's happening with this alternative up to $5 million now that we know that there are no more applications still being considered for the EIDL loan. Now, we have the SBA 7A program, which you can use for working capital up to 10 years. You also have up to 25 years if it's with real estate. You have a collateralized option that can increase your terms. You don't even have to offer up collateral to get an SBA 7A loan. There are also SBA Express loans up to $350,000, if not up to $150,000. That's a great addition if you're needing anything for working capital related, not a real estate investment like a single family home, an apartment complex. It has to be owner occupied commercial real estate property for you to qualify. And what is considered collateral is another question. But this program is very popular. In fact, since I work with the best lenders and underwriters, best providers out there that I have a great personal and business relationship with, you can also get bridge funding in the meantime. This is the cool part. Hang in there with me. So when you're getting evaluated for an SBA 7A loan, 504 loan, whatever that may be, then even with an EIDL loan that you have, you can still get an SBA 7A loan. We just have to look at the circumstances. But if you're going for an SBA 7A loan, then there's an alternative that we can look at, quote unquote, called bridge funding. We can get you, let's say, a cash advance. We can get you a line of credit and or a term loan on top of that SBA loan you're waiting for to get approved and to be going through underwriting, which is amazing. So for many of us who are looking for additional funds, it's out there, but we just don't know what we need to do. What steps does it take for me outside of me forming my corporation, my Inc., my LLC, doing all the structuring of my business? Okay, how can I qualify for an SBA 7A loan? I won't speak too much on that today, but I will leave you a video and extra video resources down below in the description if you're watching this later on YouTube. And so with that being said, you can get bridge funding. We can add a line of credit and or a term loan, a line of credit and or a cash advance together, one or. In the meantime, while you're looking to get approved for that SBA 7A loan up to $5 million. Now, how much you get approved for is a different question. And I recently released a video on the channel where I spoke about debt service coverage ratio, net operating income, EBITDA, and a few other calculations that I went through and examples. So make sure you guys go to the bio if you're watching here, perhaps on TikTok, on YouTube, down below, Facebook, anywhere else. And you guys can go and see my latest video that I took off unlisted, and I publicly released it today. And I spoke about the calculations and getting maximum funding through an SBA 7A loan. All right. Now, that bridge funding is awesome because you don't have to offer up collateral. And what happens is if you get approved for an SBA 7A loan, then you can consolidate. You can take what you got approved for over here and consolidate it underneath one loan. And that extends the maturity date of it. Instead of having between 3 to 11, if not 12 to 24, if not 12 to 36 months approved for over here, well, we can look at consolidating it if you want, or we can just leave it as it is and use and draw from that. Or if you have a lump sum, use it for what you need. But essentially, let's say you have an SBA loan now. Oh, well, I don't have to pay 12%. I'm only paying 3%, 6% on this. I consolidated it. Perfect. It works out in your favor. Now, one thing I do want to make mention of when we're looking at getting SBA loans, there are certain lenders who, so I'll say the majority of them, and I'll get into this next part. When they ask for your documentation, and I'm asking for it myself before I send it over to the lender because I underwrite a file myself. I pre-underwrite it, so I know what I'm sending. And a lot of the times I'll ask for like your year-to-date financials, your profit and loss / income statement. And I'll ask for the current year, and then the last year. So current year to date, whatever quarters, up to what quarters we're in. Maybe it's quarter 1 next year, quarter 1 to quarter 3. But I'll also want last year's. And a problem I see most business owners, they don't have it. They probably thought there wasn't a need for it. Their CPA told them, hey, everything is just underneath your tax returns. Just have them look at it there. They don't need an extra separate profit and loss / income statement, which is false. Because it's how we organize. It's how the lender organizes. It's how they do their calculations as well as I do. And you get to see more on those. And nothing is derogatory or nothing is misleading perhaps, and it's a visual representation, and we have more perhaps accurate and precise numbers if so. Now, there are lenders who will say, hey, we'll submit it and I have to still look at it if it's okay. But what I'm saying is make sure when I ask for documentation that it is separated the way I ask for it, no questions asked. If it's this way, okay, then I have to send it to him that way. Well, I don't have that. Let me get a hold of him and see if this is adequate enough. And it may be, but have those year-to-date profit and loss / income statements taken care of. Do this stuff quarterly. Understand what you're doing in your business. There has to be a need for this, especially when you're going for an SBA loan, and especially when you have so much time in business. How are you keeping track of your financials month to month, every 90 or so days? I'm sure you have a system for it, but I want to have to see a profit and loss that I can look at, not have to go digging in through your business tax returns. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't all there. Maybe something wasn't put there. Maybe after taxes, maybe before taxes. There are things that can be a discrepancy. So certain lenders will say, okay, it's fine. It looks like it's all there. But then others will say, well, there's a field that's missing that you couldn't put on the tax returns. Or I needed this extra part. So see how we're now going back and forth. My job is to reduce friction, have no friction, no resistance. So if we can get all the documents submitted that I need, and I won't go into what that is in this video. If you're watching this later on YouTube, please look in the description. There should be extra content on SBA 7A loans. And then alternatives. I've done a series on SBA EIDL versus SBA 7A versus cash advances, lines of credit, term loan options, and more. So what I want to do is make sure I leave this open. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. And I didn't say this earlier, but we are streaming on the TikTok channel. I like to jump on here from time to time. I'm not a very big video person, although I've created a lot of content video-wise. As an introvert, it's hard, but I know it serves a lot of value, and that's what I'm here for. Produce and create a lot of value that nobody else can. You guys go search on YouTube, find those business credits. There's the business funding more precisely with business loans and advances. And I see a lot of them and I go, no, it's either accurate or inaccurate, or it's accurate, inaccurate, but it has not enough information. It's like, no, that wasn't right. Or this is just a little bit of information, and I find stuff in the description or there isn't any, and I go, okay, so you expected me to just go and apply. I need to know more of this. I need to know more of that. And that's what I'm here to do, which in fact, I created my Business Funding Mastery Academy course. It's an A to Z funding course that'll show you the fundamentals from the top, the meat and the potatoes, the business services and how you need to look at them. And then to the conclusion. So there are no questions asked. When all of this is said and done, it is only going to be an obstacle, a wall that you continue to hit. And we don't want friction. We don't want resistance. Make my job easier. I'll make your life a lot easier. 100 million times easier. But if it's this whole, like right now, I have a lot of people in my email inbox who they want something done. I'll get to the questions in a moment. Appreciate you. Thank you. People want something done, but they don't look things over. They don't read an email. I follow up how I have to without pressure. I send a text message. Oh, yeah, I want to get funding, man. Yeah, I'll start the application today. Yeah, you send it. Yeah. No, that's a load of BS. Let's be honest. I'm a nice guy. I don't talk badly. I'm always positive. But don't mistake my kindness for weakness. You want somebody who's coming to the table, who will give you everything and show you how it's done? I'm your guy. But don't think for a second that I'm not evaluating your character. Because when people say something and they do another, that's a reflection of who you are. It's not even it's probably how you operate your business, but it's a reflection of you personally. And I'm a very punctual and disciplined person. So I want to make sure who I'm working with is in something or someone who's going to be dragging the process. Somebody who will show up 1 second and then become a hassle or a problem to me and is continuously doing something they shouldn't be doing. They keep asking something that has been already answered multiple times. I get we need clarity, but hey, this is the next step. This is our next part of our communication. Don't come to me until this has been sent to me or this has been done. I'll reach out to you in this next part. But we don't want this whole blah, 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 blah. We don't want that. We want smooth. And not all of it is always that way, but I got you. Relax. I'm a patient individual. I'll take care of you. Hi, Jeff. How much do you know about me? Let me ask you that question. Because the way to reframe that would have said, do you run your own business? Have you started your own business? Instead of saying, really, bro, start your own business. Needless that I need to answer that, but I will. So I do have my own business. This is my own business. I don't work for a company where there's 500 people in a call center. I don't do that. I independently, as an independent business loan broker expert in what I do. I choose and I set my own hours. I know what needs to get done in the day. What I do in my morning and my afternoon. And this isn't the only business. I have a digital marketing agency. I do affiliate marketing. I've worked in the health space for quite a long time. Then I developed another affiliate marketing business. I did a hybrid with e-commerce for some time, and then I went back to strictly affiliate marketing in different products and services. So before we go up opening our mouths, thinking we know something, let's ask a question that's constructive. So you can help with start. Yes, exactly. Who do we have? Yes, I can help you with startup funding. I do want to make this mention before I go down to the rest of the comments. No lender will lend. If you have pre-revenue, it is difficult because we need the business bank statements more so than anything. Personal statements, yeah, it's a different issue. It's a different topic. But until I have those bank statements with revenue, like what are you depositing? What is your revenue? Because revenue and deposits are different. What are you withdrawing versus what are you depositing? What is your starting and ending bank balances? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? And so forth. Like what are you generating in income? So there's a few things that we need to look at before we can assess the health of your business in terms of revenue. But if you have no revenue, then we can start off with business credit or credit lines. And I know that doesn't sound attractive to us because we're like, well, I wanted $20,000 though. I needed it for starting my business in a month. Well, if a microloan doesn't work or a similar association, well, have you explored crowdfunding? No, I don't want to take the time to do that. I don't want to have to go through an angel investor. I don't know about venture capital. I don't know about giving up equity. See, when you run into this whole cycle, you're blocking yourself from a challenge. You won't know until you get out of your comfort zone. I never knew about this until I got out of my own comfort zone. Get out of your own shell. Stop being a turtle hiding inside. And I'm an introvert, so that says a lot. And so vendor credit is what I would begin with. And then opening up credit lines through business credit cards. That's what I've been able to do. Anybody can do it. Pre-revenue, low documentation, really no documentation with credit line programs like this, where you can get access to cards like Chase. You have American Express. You have so many. I can even name one like Torpego with a no PG if you get to that point. But there's so much that needs to be added. And then there's startup loans. If you're looking for startup/personal loans that are somewhat similar in the business space, you better have strong credit. 700 plus, if not 680 with at least 5 trade lines. You haven't even built out credit history. And you're wanting somebody to fund you? Like, what do you show of proof? Installment loans, credit lines. What have you done for me to give you my money? Just because you're a friend or family doesn't mean I'm going to give you my money if I don't know for sure what you've built up. And then secondly, can I get my return? My first priority is to get my return. And so if I don't get my money back from what I give you, it's a loan, or however I'm giving it to you, business credit cards, whatever that is, personal credit cards, like how do you expect me to feel? Feeling emotions is one part, logically is a whole second part of it. I did my best in school. I did go to college, university. I would say that. I guess I'll take that as a compliment. I wasn't always that way, but I learned my lessons very young. And then after that, I became the forefront runner and just, being the person who was helpful to people in my class. And it wasn't because, I wanted to be the smartest. That's not what this is. I'm not the smartest person in the classroom. But guess what I was? I was probably one of the most hardworking ones. And that's a testament to when I played sports. I wasn't physically built to play soccer, but I played Division I and even more. Why? Because of this. I outsmarted people. And I knew how to be very cerebral in my approach, meticulous. And so that's what helped me get the edge in my timing. Do you mean as in clients, like getting business funding? I would say I'd give you a percentage. It used to be like less than 50% when I was getting started because I was still trying to get the ropes. And then I built into that 50-50 split, and then I needed to enhance my systems more. So I'd say over 75% of the time. But it depends on the approval process. It depends on the service. And I'm being very honest. I'm not saying 100% here. I'm saying what is the truth. Because when I look at my numbers and I go, well, how many people have I had? How many people are converting? How many people are doing what they need to do? And ethically speaking, I'm not just looking at you as a number at all. That's not what this is. What I'm saying is, number-wise, is it making sense? And and I'll get into why people get declined here in a second. Do you? Okay. Yeah, if you have some revenue, I would definitely like to, I don't have to ask for the bank statements right away. That's another pre-underwritten file that I can take on. But in the bio, this goes for everybody else in here watching, I have a link. If it shows up on TikTok's weird. I don't know. Other people say that they've had their link not showing. Mine hasn't for some time. Maybe it is now. But if you click it, set of buttons, first one, funding submission form, fill that one out. And then I evaluate, analyze, give you a proper response back via email. And you're getting it from an expert. This is no joke. Like what you're getting in that email is what you wish you would have had this whole time. And if you haven't even been in this world long enough to know, you'll love it. Trust me. Because what I'll show you in that email, you'll be able to get an intro, and then I'll show you the best funding option and options, more than one, and whether you can qualify for them or not. You may qualify for multiple, you may only qualify for one, but at least you go, oh man, this guy just showed me that I could qualify for this, but I couldn't qualify for that, and it takes me to this point to get to that point, and then here's a conclusion at the bottom of the email and a roadmap on what I would do, some extra bonus material, tips. Oh man, what you're gonna love is to refer back to that email. Even if as the months change, your revenue changes, we can probably fill out another questionnaire, or we can revisit that file and we can look at that email and go, hey, yeah, you raised your revenue from about 7,000 to about 20,000. Now you know where you need to go and apply with what lender, what program, what service, what I recommend with the best lenders and underwriters. Bar none, I'll take care of you. I promise you. If you give me your 100% effort and your commitment, it's most important. Effort is one thing, and that intertwines with your commitment. If your commitment level is so low, but you build it over time, good, we can work on that. But I would prefer when we get into the application, even before that, your commitment level, give me at least 100%. I know you're like, this guy's asking for a lot from me right now. Give me what you can, and I will help you along the way. I promise you that. And I don't say that lightly. I rarely ever do say that. But if you go through an application, oh, my voice there. You go through an application, I will take care of you. I'll show you how this app works, how this service works, how this lender operates, what they're looking for, what I'm looking for in bank statements. If it's tax returns, like I'm doing a lot of SBA loans as we speak, 504s, real estate funding. I'm doing everything. If I showed you guys what I'm gonna have to get off of here soon, anyways, to go back and fulfill on those next steps. But yeah, I can definitely help. Love to hear it. So yeah, in the bio, link, description, YouTube, if you are, later on, you guys can check that out. And again, the Business Funding Mastery Academy course, guys, it runs, I got just a chill right there in appreciation, not in like cockiness at all. I'm not like that. Why that happened is because I spent so much time, years, putting this course together. Like, it was a development over time. Think about it like real estate. What develops over time? Like, if you're building the land, you're trying to get the land, you're doing a ground up construction. Maybe it doesn't take you a year or two or so, but all that sweat equity, all of that money equity, and so much more you invested and you put time into, that's what I did in this, and not only that, in other businesses as well. Are you saying that as your credit score, Robert? Let me come up here. You need an SBA loan to buy a building. Hi, Hector. Welcome in. How are you doing? So are we focusing on commercial real estate property? Because if it's an SBA 7A loan, that could work for CRE loans. I won't get into all of the details right now, because I don't want to take a lot of space on commercial real estate in this video, but I work on them a lot of the time. And there's an alternative to CRE loans with the 7A loan. You can do 504/CDC, but it is a little bit more uncommon right now with community and a few other things happening and in this economy. So an SBA 7A loan can definitely help service the transaction on that, and about up to 90%. So there are a few other circumstances if you wanted 100%, but that's very rare. It's like you got to have multiple properties on top of properties, high price, the experience level, credit. You have to really know what you're doing to even get that, but that's a lot harder to get. So there's also an alternative to SBA 7A CRE loans. You have traditional property, commercial property mortgages. You have fix and flips, multifamily, single family, duplexes. This is a gray area, and I work with the best lenders on those, just so you know this. I don't kid around. When you get the best out of me, you will. You'll see it. I'm never pressuring anybody, but if I'm asking you, when do you think you could send me all the documentation by? And you don't have an answer for me, especially if it's a lot more documentation, ooh, that's not good. Like if you're going into an SBA 7A loan and you don't have all the documents ready that I asked for in the way that it's asked for, no exceptions asked, we can look at it, like I said in the beginning, with the year-to-date profit and loss. But a lot of lenders will just say, hey, go create that profit and loss / income statement the way you did it with the current year. I know you didn't do it for those, but go take care of it. And I won't get into all the details right now. But if you don't have that coming to the table, oh, you got to get it moving. I'm telling you, a lot of people right now are stalling getting the SBA loan. They're already in the process, but they're not being put in underwriting, or they're not fully in underwriting because they haven't submitted everything we needed. Like as little as a social security number on that hard copy PDF application, hello sign, that's safe and secure. I can get why you'd probably think otherwise, but at that point, that has already been addressed. Get it back to me the way it needs to be done the first time. That way we're not going back and forth. Boom. What I do? Organize it. Boom. I'll then get you an updated email on what I need next. This is what's done. This is what is needed. Next part of the conversation, send that out to me. You need to clarify something for me? Okay. Maybe it's email. Maybe it's a text message. Just a quick call if it's necessary. A messenger chat. But don't take up too much and think, well, no. I told you the way this is going in the beginning. Don't come to me with that. Right? So you have to take a look at those things and make sure you have everything you need. Now, there's lower documentation if it's not an SBA 7A loan that you won't have to do all that. Let me come up here. You need to buy a warehouse with land. Thank you for letting me know, Hector. Appreciate you for doing that. Really do. It helps me understand what could be a parameter involved in buying a warehouse with land. So, yeah, I know my follow-up questions to this. Like I said, I don't want to go too in deep on the commercial real estate, the land. I can go much deeper. I wanted to stay SBA 7A loan focused for a little bit, and I'm going to get into more of like the 0% interest. But yeah, that's definitely something that I do. The value, do you have the land, all of this, like what are we looking at? I can gather from you. And I'm doing a lot of those as we speak. Like I have a lot of people emailing me, like I asked them for this, they're sending it back. Another person's taking more time. Another one's already done this. They're already a part of the ground up construction project. We're on that phase. I have another person who's completed it all. They have already gone there. They're on the commercial property mortgage side of the equation. And on top of that, we're funding their single family homes and a few other things that they have on top of another entity. So it's pretty cool stuff what can happen in this, but you will never know until you fill out that questionnaire form in the bio, and you're working with the best. Just so you know this, I am not an amateur. If you're here to waste my energy and time, go away. But if you are serious and you just don't want to go through another automated, replicated bot that you just, hey, name an email, let me see what offer I get. Oh, they gave me a cool portal though, and they said they were going to be preparing for me an offer, and like the rep said that they would be getting back to me though, and I got an email, man, like I saw this on social media, and dang, like I'm going to take advantage of that. And see, we're so fundamentally flawed, and that's happened to me. You're not alone. It sucks. It really sucks. Let's just say it for how it is. And it's a problematic thing because as we're getting our interest rates higher, oh my. If I could just imagine how many uneducated people in the space for lending there are, which is countless. I've been able to save a lot of lives in this industry. This is my purpose, to give you the right education and value. Sure, I get it's a business, but for me, it's not all about the money at all. For me, it's about that connection with you, and it's about solving bigger problems and understanding, okay, how can I help you stimulate the economy? Because it's with you, through me, that I'm able to do that. And if I'm able to help you profit, if I'm able to help you with your tax returns, make sure you have better notes, anything else, that's what I'm all for. And I continue to do this, and this is why I continue to show up. Not because I'm making money every day. Like, as a business owner, why do you show up every day? Have you answered that? It's not for the money. If it is, if you've gone to that point, you have to look even deeper and think about the impact you're making on your own customers, on the economy. What are you doing? What part are you playing? Are you just that angry business owner who has never worked on themselves personally, development in that area? Like, we all have to work on those things. Welcome in. Please feel free to elaborate on why you respectfully disagree. And this is what I love. When people, they want to disagree or agree, either way. But what I want to see is a response. I can go here and see somebody say something off topic or on a tangent. And I was in a meeting, I was in a mastermind the other day where somebody brought this up. And it was on my mind, but somebody else brought it up. And they went, man, those people who just comment like angry stuff, or they call somebody a scam, or they disagree with someone, but they never like never do anything. Like they never say anything back. And so it leaves a lot of questions unanswered that can go in multiple ways why you did that, right? Different behavior. So I'm not exactly quote unquote challenging you, but I just want to get a better idea of what you mean by that. And that goes for everybody. I don't mind you saying, hey, this guy's a scam, especially if it's your first time. You're probably thinking that. Well, I probably would be thinking that too if I didn't know any better. Let's be honest. But once you get to know me, I didn't say my business, me, then you'll understand better. And so don't get caught up in that world when somebody else calls somebody else something out. Like, why do you think that is? Can you please give me further explanation? And guess what? I'm not saying yourself, but I'm saying a lot of people, they hide. They hide behind their own beliefs. They hide behind their own failures. They hide behind their own not successful ventures. And they want to take it out on someone else because they feel this is the way it needs to be. And they're buying too much into the emotion. They're not thinking about things logically. And so there's two different ways that your brain has to work. And so you got to combine those and make sure you're navigating the right way. Does anybody else have any questions? Take advantage of this, guys. And if you're getting value from it, I hardly ever ask this, but I would appreciate you sharing the room with others who you think will get value. It can be a complete stranger, a friend, or a family member. Excuse me. But at the end of the day, you know you were able to provide somebody with the help they needed, and then they can turn around and then give that to someone else. It's the power of giving. Moses, welcome in. How are you doing? Shout out to Texas. Happy to hear it. So I want to leave it open if anybody has any questions, and I will try to get going shortly. Oh man, if I could tell you guys the amount of stories that I've gotten, good and bad. The pretenders versus the action takers. Oh man, there's such a significant difference. And I can even smell it out. I can sniff that little piece out where I go, this guy's going to be a headache, or this lady's going to be a headache. And they're not going to act on what they say. Whether they said it to me verbally, how they said it, or they say it to themselves, don't be a liar. And I get you get busy. You have a business, multiple businesses to run, but you don't understand me, Michael. Well, I'm putting myself in your shoes on a psychological level as well. Like, I get it. You're busy. I don't want to have to call you back and forth. If I can send you an email, if I can send you a text. But if there's a timeline to something, like, be considerate of that. Be accountable. Be responsible. Like right now, all the emails that I'm waiting for, oh man, people just, because they don't have an idea of what they're getting themselves into. They expected this, they're going to get this. Oh, well, no, I don't want it anymore. Like a cash advance, for example. How many of you in here have ever applied, received a merchant cash advance? Let me see it in the comments. Have you heard of it? What are your thoughts on it? So, these merchant cash advances, They're giving you money based off of your future receivables. It's not technically a loan by most states. And think about it like invoice factoring, what you're getting paid on. And so you get money lended to you by the merchant slash lender based upon those future receivables, based on projection value, based on what you're doing now, what you will be doing in the future. And so there's usually a percentage. When you're higher sales one day, more gets taken out. Lower sales, less gets taken out. Or there's a fixed percentage. There's a fixed daily percentage. So you know exactly what's getting taken out of your account on a daily basis. It can be weekly. Normally not bi-weekly. Normally not monthly, although they do exist. But you have to be doing exceptional in your business, cash flow wise, primarily. Credit is another thing. And most monthly term or monthly lenders, I should say, with the cash out advance will not want to lend. It's very rare because people end up in a default. So when people come to me and they go, oh, it's one of those merchant cash advances. Oh, it's one of those people who doesn't understand how these work. Let me educate you. Let me take you underneath my wing. I'm not looking at you. I'm not judging you. Let me take you underneath my wing if you're willing to be open and hear it out how these work. And what is the scenario for you now? What is the scenario for you in the future? No, I don't. Yeah, just tell me, man, and just and then they go their own way and they go, yeah, that was full of bullshit. Yeah, that was. I'll do things the way that I want to do them. Feel free, go find that email or that other broker or that other agent who's going to overpromise you and underdeliver to you, and then come back to me. Which people do. They go, Michael, I wish I would have done it the way that you had done it, and the way that you had provided it for me. Well, some things are too late, other things are not. Just depends on what type of change do you want. Do you want it easy or do you want it to be hard? Oh man, I could tell you guys, so many people who say, oh yeah, I'll do that. Where are they? Where are they this week? Like, don't say something you cannot stick to. With me, it's no different. I mean, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'll do it. I may tell you I have to reschedule if I can get to it. A lot of the times I'm busy. It happens. But I jump on it and go, okay, if this were that important to me, I'd be there. Boom. It doesn't show that. It shows that something changed. But even if it changes, be considerate enough to say, hey, sorry that I couldn't make it. I'm here now. Boom. That's who I want to work with. Not somebody who just disappears. They try to look for something that doesn't exist. It's so absurd how many people do this. I bet you the guys that I spoke to the other day and the ladies, they're doing that. They're out there looking for things because they didn't like what I had to say. That can affect me less, what I had to say, in a good way. Like, I told you the reality. How should that affect me? Don't you want honesty? Now, what you do with that, it's your problem now. If you decide, oh, well, I heard about this company, and then you're seeing a lot of people talking about them, that doesn't necessarily mean they're the right one and the best one for you. Stop doing that. Stop just finding that ad from, I'm not going to name the companies, but they're doing that. And they're saying, hey, just come and apply with us and we'll take care of you. You don't really know who you're dealing with. I've been down that road. I can't say those companies for disclosure and stuff like that, but don't. This is why I do what I do too, to help those of you who don't know what to do. What business were you in? For business credit cards, I won't spend a lot of time. I spoke about it briefly in a segment in this video, but in the bio, click the link. There will be a set of buttons. I think it says, you can see the 0% one. I think there should be one about business credit cards or business credit building. So check that one out. I'll come out with more content. Hopefully I have planned for business credit cards and what I would do, what I've done, what your situation could look like. Appreciate you. Thanks. Like, this is raw, honest truth, guys. If you guys want to go diddle your fingers and run away from something because you thought of it would be different. You guys got to understand that at the core of business funding, listen to this part very carefully. What are you taking and using that funding for? Do you know the return on that investment? If I ask you a lot of questions on that, would you be able to answer me? Well, I just wanted money just to have it. I wanted to use it for personal reasons. I just wanted to have the money sitting in the account for a rainy day. Well, do you even qualify for it? One, and then does that service allow you to do that? Well, you didn't qualify for a line of credit lines, business credit. Well, you should have already had that then if you wanted money for a rainy day, but what were you doing? In about 4 to 6 months, more so 6 to 8 months, you can have enough revolving credit lines. In about 4 to 5 months, perhaps business credit established, more so 6 to 8 months, realistically. Well, if you would have just established your business credit in 4 to 5 or so months, we would be applying for that SBA loan of about $500,000, $100,000, $5 million, $2.5 million. Simple. But we don't know this because we have somebody else telling us one thing and we're doing another. Like accountants tell you one thing, like the employee retention tax credit and tax returns and profit and loss statements. Like CPAs are telling you, accountants are telling you not to do a last year or year to date profit and loss / income statement. Where are they getting that? Like what are they associating with you not doing that with? That's just regular tax return information. That's income. That's anything that they need to see. They do it differently. But when it comes to getting a business loan, if we're looking at current, last year to date, I need to see that individually. Oh, well, a CPA told me I couldn't qualify for refundable payroll tax credits up to $26,000 per employee. There's no way. I don't have the revenue that meets it. I wasn't impacted greatly enough. Well, there aren't enough reasons that they're giving you why you could qualify. I have a lot of CPAs that come to me who bring me their clients. Hey, Michael, can you please help me with them? Because I can't do this myself. Bookkeepers, everybody. Yeah, I have experience in doing this. Let me take care of it for you. Just go back there and to do what you do, and I'll do my part. How hard was that? So when we go through business funding, I'm not putting up with it. I have somebody right now, and this is just one example. Oh man, I've asked for their documentation. They're already in underwriting. We just need more bank accounts to look at because they're transferring money from different accounts. That's standard. We're actually giving them more flexibility with who I know because another lender would have just said, no, we don't want to look at their other accounts. But because you know me, we're able to. Anywhere else you would have gone to, that wouldn't have happened. And that's just one example. But I've yet to see those bank accounts. Where have you been the last 2 to 3 weeks? Perhaps it's a family. I get it. Maybe we need to take a leave of absence. We need to get away from things. And I haven't heard any feedback, and it's hard for them to do so. I get that. But, hey, you've been there this whole time. Where's that next part? So I have to go over to my lender now and tell them to not continue this. You know how that looks on my part? So it's not only your reputation that's on the line, but it's also mine. So don't put me in a corner and block me in and then expect something later down the road where I'm like, where were you when I needed you? Go work on your character. Go read some personal development books. Go work on your mindset. Then come back to me. I know that hurts, but it's better somebody says it than, hey, just keep hip hopping and skipping and we'll be fine. So I'll let this go for about another couple of minutes. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask them. We'll go until the questions stop, then I'll extend it past a couple of minutes. And always feel free to ask me a question. There's nothing wrong in asking if you don't know something, but don't assume if you don't know. Well, I thought. No, you just thought. You gotta ask. So I'll turn this around for a little bit because I don't want my face being looked at while I'm working and not saying anything. But if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask them. So I'm going to be putting an email together here. So I'll let it run for about a couple more minutes. How are we doing? I just sent some emails to certain clients reminding them of certain things and then some new ones. So I have my laptop out in front of me. You guys can't see, but I've been doing some work. Let this run for a little bit. I've already finished what I had to say in this. So if you're just joining me, I have already spoken about the SBA 7A loan program, how to get in as soon as possible, and a few other things. So I guess I'll go into another round. If anybody has any questions, I see people commenting right now as we speak. So I probably will just let quote unquote the film run. But how are you doing? Appreciate you. Thank you for saying that. I try my best. Welcome in. I don't want to sound redundant, but if you guys want a proper education on business funding, this is the person to learn it from. In terms of business credit is one thing, personal credit and all this, but more so when you're looking for that next step from private lenders, if you can't go through a bank, even if you need some advice, if you're going through a bank, online banking solutions, whether it's a line of credit, these term loans, secured funding, you have assets, accounts receivables, equipment financing. I do all of these. Every single day, I get them. And I take care of you, personally and in business. I don't just say that. Who else have you worked with that can actually take care of you, get to know who you are to a degree? I'm introverted too, so it's hard. But I like to take interest in who I work with. And I've built so many relationships where like I know their families, I know their kids. It's pretty cool. And so whenever we speak, I'm like, how are your kids doing? Oh, they're growing up so fast. And I know last time we spoke and we saw each other, if that, not always need to be seeing each other and doing that. But I take a vested interest and just know when you're working with me, oh my God, you get the best for sure. Like, I don't say that to be cocky. I say it as in a confidence, 110% confidence and certainty that I know what I'm doing. Whether you can even get a loan or not, I will put you in the right vehicle. I will put you in the position where you will be fundable. And then when you're fundable, what does that look like? And then how do you work towards other goals? If you're here, how do I go here, here, here? How do I get an SBA loan? If it's an express loan at that. If I get one for $250,000, Michael, I'd be happy. How can I do that? So I break it down and I reverse engineer. Like, are you here yet? Are you not? Okay, so to get here, there's a level below this that you need to address first. And then right here, we pivot and then we go back. And then right here, boom, this is where you are. So I would focus on, you don't even have the credit profile, your personal credit's this way. You got to work on a cash advance. And we could try to get you a line of credit if it's possible with what you have, if it's clean. And then what we do is we can maximize your funding. And then you can pay it off early if you want. Come get more funding underneath the best, same lender, appropriately for you. And or then we build. Probably go into more of a monthly term loan. And then from there, boom, we build. You're working on building trade lines. You're working on your business credit all at the same time. Your personal credit is building. Boom. You're cleaning up anything derogatory. Late payments. Nothing that should be affecting you. You're not only just withdrawing, but you're removing things with the IRS and a few other things. Boom. We're at the SBA loan. You're profitable. 2+ years time in business. You have the right business and personal credit. There's enough credit history. It's not thin credit. It's credit worthy. Boom. Now you're getting perhaps 5 to 7 years. Boom. And you have a longer term return on that investment. Boom. In the meantime, we can look back again and get you more bridge funding because you don't have everything you need on the, all underneath one, or you need it in the meantime. Boom. And that doesn't end there. Guess what? You need help with your website? Do you need help with a landing page? Do you need help with social media? Boom. I have a digital marketing background. I run digital marketing agencies. I've done that. I've helped out other digital marketing agencies. And so, not that I am the one doing all of it now, and that I focus gigantically on as much as I used to. There are certain sectors, and I have more of a more do-it-yourself. I used to do it done for you. Now I have a more do-it-yourself with all of my material. When you get funding through me, like I can't say this really, but when you get funding through me, there are some additional stuff that comes with that. And extra video, resources, stuff that are going to leverage and take your business to another level. And stuff that you guys can't get until you get into my own Rolodex. Did you? That's awesome. For a trucking business, and I know the sweat that it takes, money that it takes to just get to that point. So good job doing that. Were you a sole proprietor before it? Were you didn't have an LLC or any kind of Inc. or identity? So the next thing to do after you formed your LLC, you have your states of articles of incorporation. If you have all of that, your EIN, that's what you want to have. Make sure you have those things set up. The fundamentals, that being your business phone number, and not a mobile phone number you use for business. That is what credit issuers will look at, especially when you're getting higher tiers of business funding. You want to have the right business address, location. Careful of those PO boxes, however you set that up. But make sure you have a physical, a virtual address. I have all of this stuff, guys, just by the way. I just like to use my mobile number a lot of the times. I like giving you access. Let's just say that. Whenever we communicate, I can give you my access if I determine that. So make sure you have everything. Your business address, your URL, domain name, doing business as, all of these little steps and intricacies to finally getting to a point when you have that LLC, then now you can walk in and try to build these credit lines and getting approvals for them if you have the right credit. So my next step then would be for you, honestly, like if I had to ask you, are you generating revenue in your business? I'm not going to ask you how much. We don't want to get into that now. But how much are you generating is another question. I can ask so much more on top. But my bio, if you go to the link, click first button, funding submission form, fill out that form out. I evaluate, analyze, and I'll give you a proper response back via email on your best funding options. Very professionally done. And I can have numbers broken down for you like that. And I can give you ballpark ranges. I do that for the majority of people. I can show you line of credit options. If there's ballpark numbers, I'll show you how we factor in interest with withdrawal fees and what that has to do with the total interest and principal, on top of how fast you can actually pay this, what your weekly, what your monthly payment would look like based on different scenarios. But it's not about rates, APRs, AIRs. Oh man, like we got to think about the benefit exceeding your repayment. That's ultimately, it doesn't matter if it's a $200, if it's a $350 a day payment. We would never give you something if you can't afford it. But we know what you're generating in sales day to day, or what it looks like, what you're doing month to month. So we can factor and say we can give you a $350, $450, $250 or so a day payment. If it's weekly, monthly, however it looks like, it's a $7,000 a month unsecured financing option. But you're generating over $80,000 a month consistently. A little bit of fluctuation. What are you crying for? Well, I wanted my payment less, and you were only going to give me 2 years. Okay. Well, the reason we went this direction is because of what you need to use your funds for. That can't give you 3 years. The return on that investment doesn't make sense for the multiple uses you need. And you couldn't qualify for an express/standard SBA 7A loan for about 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 5 to 10 years because of your profitability or because of the way your income is set up, your cash flowing. Business credit, no, none of that. Like, what are we supposed to do? We start somewhere. No fees on my part. I don't charge upfront fees, no application fees, no hidden costs, period. It's only on the back end when you get funded. So there's origination fees, there's closing costs, lender closing fees. I'm sure you guys have heard of this. It could factor in within a few hundred to about 3,000 to 4,000, depends on the service and depends on the lender. Lender closing fee can be waived off completely if you're a trustable, cash flowing, higher tier client. The lender that I work with, that's only one of many, but certain ones will go, hey, we can waive off that lender closing fee. And then there are others who still do the same thing, but they're at different tiers. So there's A, B, C, D plus tier lenders who I can help associate and connect you with. The best. Protect your privacy. None of this. Like when people send me something like, who the hell's this? And I look into it and I'm like, oh, that's a scam. Oh, man. Now they have Jerry's information. They just sent that to third parties. Well, that's what happens when you don't meet somebody and come across like me. This is what happens. And if you meet me, like we are here, I'm not saying in person, maybe in person one day, don't do that. Don't go doing your own thing again. Just because you didn't like what somebody showed you, like, but this company was offering me $40,000. You said I'm only going to get $20,000. You're getting a pre-approved marketing offer. Even if it isn't that, how do you know it's going to go to closing when I know for a fact it won't? They're trying to entice you. They're probably not giving you enough information to tell you the truth. And why doesn't it make sense to start off with 40 instead you want to start off with 20,000? I spoke to a business owner the other day. Every day I do this. This one just happened to be over a phone call. How much did you get approved for the first time around? Well, I got approved for about 60,000. Excuse me. And can I ask why you took a minimal amount? I'm not going to say the exact number, but they took close enough to about 20,000. And he said, this is what I needed to do. This is what I needed to use it for, more or less. Okay, well, it made sense why you took a little bit, and you were quote unquote scared to take too much at once because of the payment structure. Makes sense. If you don't need it all at once, you were given options like we do. But I work with the best. Who you were given, I wouldn't have always recommended that. So these are things to think about. All types of funding, from I guess I can say it that way. I'll say cash advances, merchant cash advances, hybrid cash advances. There's different names for them. The cash advances, we do term loans, lines of credit, SBA loans, equipment financing, personal/startup loans, accounts receivable, secured financing, real estate equipment, inventory, stocks and bonds, everything, 401k, IRA, anything you can think about in the business funding world, I do. And I've done, and I have experience in. I've done things for myself in my own businesses, so I wouldn't be telling you something different if I didn't know it myself. Government funding, been there, done that. So you have to understand that there are levels. You cannot just jump a level. It's like a Mario game. How do you get from level 1 to level 100 or whatever it is? You put in a cheat code, right? Remember those days when you can play a video game and put in a cheat code? Nintendo 64s, I think. I would get on there and I think it was called like Cheat Planet or something like that. Video game Cheat Planet, something like that. There's a couple of them. But I would get on there, left button or X, square, X, circle, X. It's like, okay, pretty cool. Jeff, welcome in. How are you doing? Hey, we have a few familiar faces now. Welcome in. How are we doing? Appreciate you. You are welcome. I like what you said. I just had a little shock running down my right leg. Like, that is meaningful to me. Like, it means a lot. Like, literally, you don't know how much. I'm here to serve, guys. Like, I'm not asking for money. I'm not here saying, hey, send me the Cash App. Let's go on, Telegram. And we'll speak there, and then you can know. Cut that out. Right now. So, I have a Facebook. I have a lot of people on Facebook Messenger I need to go back to. I can only do so much in the day. Like, if I showed you guys all the comments on YouTube, TikTok, Messenger, people just going to my site, anywhere. I love it. I'm there to help, but I can only be in so many places at once. I might start hiring some VAs. And I have connections to that. But be patient with me. I'm going to work with you. When I get to you, you'll be happy about it. Yeah, it did happen too. A lot of stuff happens in this world, man. Like, you wouldn't even believe. It's just, whew. I'm not saying you or anybody else in here watching at this moment, it could be. Whoa. A lot of business owners just don't get, not the education part. They just don't get how their mentality or their mindset or their own personal characteristics have anything to do with them getting business funding. There's even some that go into denial. Like, if you don't work on yourself, that's a translation of who and how you operate your business. I've gone into businesses. I have friends and family. I worked as in a 9-to-5 role once upon a time. And I understood. I did that. I knew I was working with the owner. He would bring me into his office so we can work on systems. I was the systems guy. Even in a different role, he did not trust someone else like he trusted me. But unfortunately, one of those latest companies that I worked under, they had to relieve people, and I was one of the unfortunate ones. And I had to go back on unemployment. Unemployment sucks. I've been there. Unemployment benefits, food cards. I have been there in my younger 20s more so. I went to university. I'm an academic. Well, we figured things out. And then secondly, I had a lot of hardships when I had to take on certain roles for different industries. I did construction, manufacturing, warehousing. I'm very diverse, and I focused on some of those longer than others, but I needed to see what was happening in these businesses. I wanted to get a better idea. Did I have to go through all that? No. But we learn, and I'm so proud that I went through all of that, even when I knew those roles weren't exactly for me. The later ones were, because we learned something from ourselves. And then I helped, at a point, I helped a courier business I was working with because of a long time ago. And it was one of those things where they had placed me as in an administrative role. I wasn't doing the courier. I had to go out from time to time. I didn't enjoy that. I did not enjoy that. Like, that's not my thing. I don't like getting in a vehicle. Maybe I'll, from time to time, like once in a while we do, right? But when you have to do it every day or every other day, like it wasn't expected. But I would be working on the computers, fulfilling on a lot of stuff, looking at budgets, looking at ways of how we can improve systems. My mathematical and scientific mind working with the business aspects of it. So I'm always doing that. Does anybody have any questions? I mean, I get people who come to me and they want debt relief, specifically an EIDL loan forgiven. Like, hey, that for the majority doesn't happen. But they gave you a deferment. They gave you a repayment time. This is the reasoning that like a lot of business owners who are in economic impacted positions, I get you're not taking that money and using it to grow and expand your business. So your revenue is either staying the same or going back down. Not normally going, it can go up. Payroll, you bring more people on and so forth. It can help. But that's another expense you're enduring. And so a lot of people are looking for debt relief. And in that case, it's much more difficult to. Good question. How are you doing, Brooklyn? So, yes, 120 billion. It's my favorite program for startups and non-startups. Startups more specifically. The best, no questions asked out there. Instead of pulling from your 401k, IRA account, stocks and bonds, using any other kind of a collateral situation that you may not even still qualify for it. Still have to look at it a little bit more. That is the one to get into. Because you can liquidate. It's like pulling cash out of business credit cards. You can liquidate and use that cash for other investments for how you choose. Use it as working capital. Like, what other position could give you this power? And then you have vendor credit on top of it. Oh my goodness. You have revolving lines. You're getting up to 50, 100,000. It's very quick. It can be done as in like when you can start or when you can start having those credit lines like fulfilled on those credit lines. So starting it can be a quick 1 to 2 day turnaround. Sometimes 24 hours. There's a quick 1 to 2, sometimes 1 to 5. It's somewhat similar to when you're getting like business funding through a private lender, lower doc, because this is no documentation. But it is very quick. I have my team that I work with on that. There are quite a few people. And then I know what's kind of happening already in the process. So it's a great one to do. Credit lines, you can realistically, depends on what you can get access to in terms of business credit cards, how you can leverage your personal credit, your consumer credit on all 3 credit bureaus if it looks good. and you can get it done quick. You can get access to that. Now, how much limit you get on those credit cards? I mean, that's why you have multiple. You have one, maybe a starter account because your personal credit, something shows up in your personal credit. You have strong credit, but maybe it's the inquiries. Maybe there's a late payment in there. Maybe there's something derogatory that needs to be cleaned and removed, and it needs a form of credit repair. So when we issue you a business credit card, we look at all these things. We go, hey, well, what have they done? Well, for more of the part, we're looking at your business side of the equation. That's why. And you want to separate personal from business. So it can be a quick turnaround. And usually how I do things with my team, and I work with the best on this, by the way. The best. So it's usually like a quick consultation. It could be over the phone call. Might be sending you an email. But I have my team that I can help with that. And so that's how I can leverage those things. That way I can focus on a lot of the business funding. Like I did that in the beginning. I did the business credit side. I did a few other parts of it. But I want to focus on like how can I get you the funding on top of the business credit. And I know all of that. I do that myself. I know how it works. I did it for some time, as I said. But I can only be like so involved in all of the little steps. If I'm focused too much on this one, then I wouldn't be able to do this one. So it's like I gotta pick and choose. I can't be the personal credit repair person if I need to focus on being the person that can help point you to the right lenders and then show you how the underwriting process works and then get back to you and be a true business loan broker in that regard. Hopefully that helps. Does anybody else have questions? You are welcome. And it's a process. Like, yeah, business credit cards, you can get them on your hands faster. But for what you need, will you have enough of it? That's another question. Like, you got to build 1 to 2 months in. You may get to those limits in the second month, 3 to 6 months in. But more realistically, like 6 to 8 months down the road, now you have multiple business credit cards at higher limits. And the first set of cards, however much time you can have between getting an increase in limit, that's another question. And so some within 3 months, others within 6 months, looking on your credit history and seeing that you're using those business credit cards. They'll bump you up. Maybe you have 5,000. Now you're at 10, 15,000. And so one card at 15,000, and then you have another one at like a Chase Ink card, which you can, like the Chase Ink card, you can get up to about 100,000 on one of those. And even if you didn't get up to 100,000, like that gives you enough room to start with. So if you're trying to fund your business and thinking of a way to do it without taking a cash advance, where now you have to pay 30, 40, 50% interest, let's be honest, but that's not always bad. Like, you may need business credit cards when you're growing and expanding. Yeah, is if you're scaling, it could be, but use that as fuel for making purchases on supplies and things you need to just stabilize in your business and continue to get back. And then when you take business funding, you say, hey, I have a big return on this investment, or it could be short. My ROI will be these numbers. I can only use so much with my business credit cards. I don't want to have to use more of that. Or, hey, I'm over leveraged with personal credit because of your utilization. But business credit doesn't work like that. Use as much as you want. And so when you're capped out at 30 to 35%, or you're over leveraged personal credit, where's your business credit? Where's that 30, 40,000 that should be getting used over here? You don't have it. Or you don't have enough of it. But if you would have just taken the time, 1 to 6 months in, where would you be? You'd also build your business credit lines, and then you'd be accessing funding products such as SBA loans. Simple. And then there's revenue involved, and there's a little few components. But this is the game that needs to be played. It's your decision if you choose to ignore it, or do you choose to accept it? Will you wait another day? I'll get back to it tomorrow. I'll get back to it in 2 days from now. Who are you lying to? I'll get back to it in a week from today. Now I'm at the laughable stage. Don't make me laugh. It's not funny. So people lie to themselves every day. They'll lie to my face. Like, that's terrible. Like, you're telling yourself something, programming your mind by telling yourself something that you cannot commit to. That's terrible. You're tricking your own brain. Telling yourself, yeah, I'll send you documentation. I'll send you the... You get busy, I get it, but where's the feedback? You never got back to me. How do you think I feel about that? How do you think my lenders feel? How do you think my reputation feels about that? So a lot of people are not afraid to step up to the plate when they come to me. Not necessarily. It's just a whole different environment when you come to me, as opposed to going to somebody who has no face, not enough value. You're questioning it, even if this is the right one. You get an offer, you go, I'm going to take this, I'm going to go shop around, I'm going to find out what else is out there. Instead, if you were to come to me, you have that offer you needed, there's nothing else to look at. That's the best availability. And I gave you the best lender. The best underwriters were on this for your situation, not someone else's, your situation. But because you chose to spread your information all across the web, how is it being used? It's usually being misused and abused. People getting on social security numbers, they're fraud. They're seeing a lot of credit issuer reports, a lot of stuff on the personal and business credit side. People ending up having their information spread out across the dark web. That's not uncommon. Fortunate. People having a freeze on their account. They don't know how to unfreeze it, or they can't unfreeze it for their credit. These are just some. People scammed, expected to pay a certain amount back that they haven't been able to. Boom, the list goes on. Hello. We just got an SBA loan for a purchase and renovation of a liquor store. We put down $250,000. Nice. So are you speaking towards the SBA 7A loan on that one? Or are you leaning more towards the 504 on that? Until I know more about your situation, I can't say if there was a better way to do it. Like, I'd have to gather more. And it may not be all in this chat. I can ask more, certainly. But through what SBA 7A, 504, did you have a preferred lender? Did you not? Who were the underwriters behind it? Was it the right credit issuers, credit facility? How much flexibility did you have? What were their expectations? And again, I can't know all of that and judge them based upon this alone. I have to look at the revenue. I have to look at the tax returns. I have to look at everything. Appreciate you. Thank you for sticking it through. I did notice you, by the way. I did know that. And all the questions and everything you brought to the table. But enjoy your day. And yes, feel free to reach out to me. And then in the bio description down below, there should be a link. You are welcome. So yeah, until I know more information about your SBA process, I can't give you a concrete answer and say, would the 0% be better? Because the maximum amount of funding that you were looking for or what you could get approved for, going the 0% route, that's going to take you more time to build. So you may not have all the necessary funds you need to make it happen. That's the difference. Like, you may be sitting at $800,000, but you are trying to get 0% interest, but it takes you 1 to 6 months or so to have adequate enough credit lines. So it's usually up to 150, if not 250,000. And if you were thinking about using that to liquidate, to get the cash out and put as a down payment, I would do that. That would definitely be a way. Now, a different way to get a down payment if that's another part, I know this is something that likely has already happened, but with a lot of people who want down payments, personal loans, nothing wrong with those. Those work. Another situation, especially for vehicle equipment, cash advance. Why not? Cash advance with a line of credit and or a personal loan. Maybe there's another situation where we look at. I'm doing all these all the time. Like a personal loan would have been perfect with higher credit. Boom. Use that. Leverage it. You get between 1 to 5 years. Boom. It can help you save over that extended amount of time if that's what you were looking to do. Every situation is different. So again, guys, in the bio link, you guys can go ahead and get access right there. All right, so I think I will get going. People just popped off here. Appreciate you guys' energy and time for being with me today. Look in the description for the information to get started, the questionnaire form, fill that out if you haven't. Bio, more links, and I will talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye.